Marcus made $84,000 a year as a senior account manager. When he walked into Chase Bank asking for a $25,000 business loan, he had his entire pitch rehearsed. He wanted to launch a consulting practice. He'd already landed 2 clients paying him $3,000 a month on the side. His financial projections showed he could hit $150,000 within 18 months if he went full-time. The loan officer listened politely, nodded in all the right places, then told him he'd need 18 months of business tax returns, audited financial statements, and collateral worth at least $30,000. He didn't have any of it. The business was new. Application denied. 3 weeks later, that same bank sent him a pre-approved auto loan offer, $38,000 at 6.2% interest. No business plan required, no collateral needed, just his W-2 showing that $84,000 salary. They'd put him in a car tomorrow, a car that would lose $15,000 in value the moment he drove it off the lot. The business loan would have tripled her income, but the bank said yes to the depreciating asset and no to the wealth-building opportunity. This isn't a banking error. This is the system working exactly as designed. Here's what Marcus didn't understand. Banks don't evaluate you on your potential. They evaluate you on your predictability. When you apply for a business loan, you're asking them to bet on your future. That's risk. But a car loan, you're showing them your W-2, your job, your salary, your boss who signs paychecks every 2 weeks. That's a guaranteed payment stream for the next 6 years. And here's the truly sick part. They're not just evaluating whether you can pay them back, they're evaluating whether you'll stay in a position where you need to keep paying them back. A business owner who succeeds becomes financially independent. An employee with a car payment stays financially dependent. One customer eventually stops needing the bank. The other customer needs the bank forever. According to the Federal Reserve, total consumer debt in the U.S. hit $17.5 trillion in 2024. Almost all of that debt is tied to salary. Your mortgage is calculated based on your income. Your car loan is approved based on your income. Your credit limits are determined by your income. The entire system is architected around one assumption, that your salary is the ceiling of your financial capacity. This assumption isn't accidental. It's engineered. Think about how debt products are marketed to you. You don't see ads saying, borrow money to start a business. You see, you deserve this car. You've earned this vacation. Treat yourself. Every message connects your borrowing to your current lifestyle, your current identity, your current income level. The debt you can access is always perfectly calibrated to keep you comfortable at your current income while ensuring you never have enough left over to escape it. Pre-approved credit limit increases arrive like clockwork every time you get a promotion. No matter how much you earn, you're always stretched to the edge of what your income supports. You're always one missed paycheck away from trouble, because that's when you're most valuable to them, not when you're wealthy, when you're leveraged. Now you might be thinking, that's just how lending works. Banks have to make sure people can pay back loans. But here's what breaks that logic completely. That same bank that wants 18 months of tax returns before giving you $25,000 for a business will approve you for $75,000 in credit card debt based on a 10-minute application. They'll give you a home equity line of credit for $100,000 that you can spend on literally anything with zero oversight. They'll finance a boat, a jet ski, a destination wedding. The barrier to accessing debt for consumption is almost non-existent. The barrier to accessing capital for wealth generation is deliberately insurmountable, unless you already have wealth. Marcus could have walked out with $70,000 in consumer debt that same afternoon, no questions asked. But $25,000 to triple his income? Impossible. The system isn't designed to assess risk. It's designed to fund consumption and block wealth creation. Because consumption keeps you on the treadmill, wealth creation lets you step off. Let me show you exactly how this plays out with real numbers. Say you make $90,000 a year. Your bank will happily give you a mortgage for around $300,000. They'll finance a car for $35,000. They'll give you credit cards totaling maybe $40,000 in limits. You can access over $370,000 in debt, all structured around your current salary. Now, say you want $50,000 to start a business. That $50,000 could realistically generate an additional $5,000 a month within a year. That's $60,000 in annual income. Your $90,000 salary just became $150,000. But the bank won't give you that $50,000. They'll give you $370,000 for a house, a car, and credit cards, none of which generate income, all of which lose value. They won't give you $50,000 for the one thing that could actually change your financial trajectory. And here's the part that should make you furious. It's not because the business is risky, it's because the business is too likely to succeed. If you generate that $5,000 a month, you just broke through your salary ceiling. You just stopped being an employee who needs to finance their lifestyle. You just became someone building wealth, and wealthy people don't need banks the same way leveraged people do. The psychological programming runs so deep that most people don't even apply for the business loan. They look at their salary and think, this is what I'm worth, this is what I can afford, this is my ceiling. Marcus almost didn't go to the bank at all because part of his brain was already telling him he didn't deserve the loan, that he wasn't established enough. He'd internalized the ceiling before the bank even told him no. That's the genius of the system. It doesn't just block you from accessing wealth-building capital, it programs you to stop asking. You accept that your salary is your limit. You optimize your life around monthly payments you can afford based on what you currently earn. You start thinking in terms of, can I afford the payment, instead of, will this build wealth? And once you're thinking that way, the bank has won, because now you're managing your debt load instead of building assets. The bank has successfully redirected all your financial energy into optimizing within the cage instead of breaking out of it. Let me tell you what happened to Marcus after the bank said no. He didn't take the car loan, he kept his old Toyota. He kept working his job and building his consulting practice on nights and weekends. It took him 2 years instead of 6 months, but he eventually went full-time. Now he's making $230,000 a year. His business has 4 employees. He has equity in something he built. And last month, that same bank that denied his business loan called to offer wealth management services. They want to help him invest his money now that he doesn't need them, now that he built the wealth without them. They said no when it would have mattered. They're saying yes now that it's irrelevant. Marcus told them to go to hell. The entire financial system is structured to keep your income predictable and your wealth limited. Your salary is not your potential, it's your current price for your time. But banks want you to think it's your ceiling. They want you to build your entire financial life around that number. They want you to borrow up to the edge of what that number supports. Because as long as you're thinking that way, you're thinking like an employee. You're thinking like someone who needs to finance their life. And people who need to finance their life need banks. People who own assets, who generate cash flow, who build equity, they use banks, but they don't need them. There's a difference. And the entire lending system is designed to make sure you never figure that out. Right now, you probably think of yourself as responsible because you only borrow what you can afford based on your salary. You run the calculations, you make sure the payment fits your budget. But what if being responsible means refusing to let your current income define your future wealth? What if the smart choice is to stop asking what you can afford and start asking what you should own? The banks want you focused on affordability. Can you afford this house? Can you afford this car? Affordability is about staying within your current limits. Ownership is about breaking through them. Every dollar you spend on interest is a dollar that could have bought equity. According to the Federal Reserve, the median American household will pay approximately $420,000 in interest over their lifetime. That's money that went to banks instead of building wealth. So here's what you do. First, stop asking what you can afford and start asking what you should own. Make a list of assets that generate cash flow or appreciate in value. Compare that to your current debt load. How much are you paying every month for things that lose value? That number is your wealth gap. Second, automate a portion of your income towards asset acquisition before you even see it. Automate 20% towards wealth. Let your lifestyle adjust around what remains. Third, every time a bank offers you debt, ask yourself, does this make the bank more money or does this make me more money? The answer is always obvious once you ask the question. Fourth, refuse to let your current salary define your future wealth. You're not worth what your employer pays you. You're worth what you can create, what you can build, what you can own. Your salary is just your current agreement with one buyer of your time. The ceiling only exists as long as you believe it. Marcus almost followed the rules. He almost took the car loan because the bank said yes, and it felt good to be approved for something. He almost accepted that his $84,000 salary was his ceiling.
He almost stayed an employee forever because that's what the system wanted. But something in him refused. He saw the cage. He saw that the bank was offering him exactly the kind of debt that would keep him trapped. And he chose differently. Not because he was smarter or braver, but because he stopped believing that his salary defined his worth. He stopped asking what he could afford and started asking what he should build. And now he's free, not because he makes more money, but because he owns what he built. He has equity. He has options. He has wealth that exists independently of any employer or any bank. The ceiling only existed as long as he believed it. You're not an employee trying to afford your life. You're a wealth builder who's been systematically taught to think small. The banks need you to keep thinking small. Your salary is not your ceiling. It's just the current price of your time. Stop selling it cheap. Stop financing your present with your future. Stop letting institutions that profit from your debt convince you that responsible means predictable. You're worth more than your paycheck. You're capable of building more than your budget allows. The ceiling is a lie, and you just saw through it.